thinking about moving, relocating to the sunny country of Spain, but there's no need to work, or maybe you're retired already, then non-lucrative visa in Spain is the perfect option for you guys. However, there are many things that no one tells you about. Welcome back to the channel Spain Unlocked. My name is Anna, and here we explain you everything about living, moving, relocation related, everything you should know about the life in Spain. Today, let's unlock non-lucrative visa in Spain. What is the non-lucrative residence in Spain? First of all, this is a type of permit that allows you to live in Spain legally and enjoy all the perks and positive parts of it, staying here in the sunny country of Spain. However, there is one extremely important point by now, which, as indicated in its name, it's a non-lucrative visa, which means that you are able to live in Spain but not work for a Spanish company. And as per se, the residence permit that you will be given will indicate that you are not allowed to work, or in Spanish, no autorizado para trabajar. And this means that you can only live legally in Spain for as much as your permit is actually valid. This type of residence visa, because it has been made from the outside of Spain, that's why it's called non-lucrative visa, is perfect for all those who do not need to work in Spain but wants to enjoy all the positive parts of actually living here. And it's perfect for those who are retired, those who have sufficient amount of funds to not need the work in Spain, those who have remote jobs and for some reason do not want to apply for a digital nomad visa or cannot apply due to some specific restrictions. The non-lucrative visa might be a good option. And in general, for all those who just want to live here and enjoy life, but not work in the country as per se. Basically, it is a residence permit for non-European Union residents and citizens who want to live in Spain but not work here. And now you'll ask, okay, all right, I think this might be the visa for myself and my family, but what are actually the requirements for this type of visa? There are quite a lot of requirements and documents that you will need to prepare for this type of visa, but first of all, one of the most important key requirements is the income. Since you will not be able to work in Spain, obviously you need to show the sufficiency of funds, and usually it is being checked by monthly income. And for 1 year of non-lucrative visa, which is given only for 1 year at first, you would need to show the 1 year's income that you actually have it available. But monthly, as for now in 2025, this type of income would be around 2,700 euros per month. This is how much you would need to show for one person, which is the main applicant for the visa. Every single one of the family members, additionally to the main applicant, would be needing to show additional 675 euros, around this price per month. So overall, it would be around 40 something thousand euros if it would be two of you needing to relocate to Spain for a non-lucrative visa. The main applicant obviously would need to show slightly more than 30,000, and the remaining amount for the family member that will be traveling with the main applicant. Apart from the financial situation, this might be either monthly income or savings that you have on your bank accounts, or your retirement funds, pension funds, whatever you have. These are also perfectly valid. Apart from that, obviously, you need to have your passport that will be valid at least for the next year, at least minimum. You will need the passport copies. You will need to submit the form asking for the visa. You will need to pay a tax apart from the visa cost as well. You will also need to provide some specific documents such as criminal records for the last 5 years from the place where you've been living, You'll need to provide the obviously criminal records, like a certificate that you do not have any kind of recent criminal records or at all, which would be the best thing, because this is an official requirement to make sure that people who are actually coming to live in Spain do not have any kind of legal issues, or they're not being searched anywhere, they didn't commit any kind of serious crime back in their home country. Apart from that, you would need a marriage certificate if you're traveling with a spouse or wife, a husband. You will need the children's documents like a birth certificate if you're traveling with your kids as a whole family. One of the key points would also be the medical certificate, which basically shows that a doctor certifies that you are in a good health and you do not have any kind of troubled considered diseases internationally. And then you will also need a private health insurance. We have several videos here on the channel. One of them is specifically about the private health insurance in Spain. It has all the useful information, everything you should know about the private health insurance, popping up somewhere right here. Or you can choose it also in the useful information playlist here on the channel. You're able to find it by putting up private health insurance in Spain. And you'll have all the information and more than you actually need. So private health insurance is a specific one. Not every private health insurance is valid for these purposes in general for any kind of residence permit in Spain. And this insurance has to be a full coverage insurance and equivalent to a Spanish national healthcare system. It has to cover everything from day one, so no exceptions, no co-payments, everything fully covered from the first day of your insurance. And for these types of purposes, the health insurance company issues a specific certificate stating so, which is why the company asks to pay the whole insurance in advance for the first year. And this is how it usually works. You pay for a whole year, they issue you the certificate, you get the full coverage, and that's what Extranjería, which is a like migrations department, which is what they actually accept. Insurance that are paid monthly or not a full coverage automatically will be rejected. So be really careful with the insurance that you actually will choose for your residence permit. Don't forget that here in our migration consulting company, we can help you out not only with a property search here in the region in Spain, in Costa Blanca. We can help you out with all the documents, checking it for the non-lucrative visa, making sure everything's correct, the private health insurance, and much, much more once you arrive here to Spain. What many people do not mention and do not know, actually, even experts, is that depending on where you actually apply for the non-lucrative visa, some specific consulates and embassies, they do require a proof of accommodation, at least for the first 3 months. This is something that is not typical, and depending on the consulate, it might happen. Like in Miami, they don't ask for it, but in Houston, they do ask for proof of accommodation. So depending on where you do it and in which country you do it, they might ask for proof of accommodation or not. In case they do, don't worry, we can get you an accommodation at least for the first 3 months, or directly yearly rental if you wish, or maybe a purchase even of a property, to be able to ask and submit paperwork for the non-lucrative visa. These so far are the main documents, the most important ones that you will need. Also, do not forget, please, every single document that is not in Spanish has to be translated by a legal authorized translator. Plus, every single document that is from official institution in your home country, like certificate of birth, marriage certificate, criminal record certificate, etc., all these need to be translated, obviously, but also need to get the apostille, which is called Apostilla de la Haya for the agreements that there exist. It has to be apostilled before you actually bring the documents into the consulate. These will not be accepted without this apostilla stamp. So it's really important for you to remember. What is the application process? Here, there's also some tricky parts, because in the vast majority of consulates, you have to get an appointment, obviously, to submit all the paperwork. And only in some, they do allow people to actually get inside. And in many countries, consulates do not receive the documents directly. They do not receive people directly with appointments. This is being done through third-party companies that are working with the consulate, that are collaborating with them. So, for example, in US, there's a specific company that you need to ask the appointment in, and this company is the one who takes your documents and sends it to the consulate. Not sure why it's done like this, probably because there's too many people applying. However, this is the legal procedure, either in the consulate or by a specific company that is in charge to take care of the documents that you're bringing them for the visa process. You get the appointment first, you bring all the documents, the picture of you, like the typical passport picture, all the copies, everything that you need, the tax paid, the form submitted, signed, everything that you need, translated and apostilled, and you submit it. The consulate is keeping your passport from that moment onwards. Why? Because they, once it's all approved, they put like a stamp, like a paper, like a visa paper. They glue it inside of your passport. This is stating that you have already been approved for your residence. And with this is with what you have to travel legally to Spain. This is the most important part of the process. Once the visa is inside, they will tell you to come and pick up your passports. From that moment, you can travel already to Spain. However, this is not the last step in this process. The second part is what begins when you arrive to Spain. The processing of the visa legally can take up to 90 days, which is 3 months. However, the average would be between 1 and 2 months. This is the average that it takes to actually get a reply, depending on which kind of season we are in, how many applications have went through recently in the same consulate or the same company that's processing all these, and if we are in summer or not. In summer, obviously, since all this is being sent to Spain, August is the month when half of people do not work. So obviously it takes slightly longer then. And now let's go to one of the last parts. And it's something that not everyone knows, because not all legal advisors and lawyers are mentioning it to their clients. What nobody actually tells you. This is one of the most important parts of today's video. Whenever you are doing all the visa process, you think, all right, it's all being done. I already have my visa, I already have my permit. No, that is a common mistake to make. That was only the step 1. And now you have to do the step 2 once you arrive to Spain. Once you've gotten back your passport with a visa and you're coming here to Spain, you have 30 days from the moment you arrive to get an appointment in the national police. Obviously, all this we are able to help you out in case you need any kind of help with the appointments, with submitting the documents here, filling up the forms, paying the tax, etc., etc. Because once you arrive, you have to already have the place to live, you have to have a rental agreement or the purchase contract of the property, you have to do the empadronamiento in the town hall, which is the Spanish address registration on your name, with which you also need an appointment to get that one done. And usually it takes some time to get these appointments. Technically, in some places like in Alicante City, it takes up to 2 weeks since the moment you book it actually to have the appointment. A lot of the times people waste the time and they're not able to get the appointments on time because they didn't plan this through, or ask specialists like us to help you out. So once you come here, you need to get the rental contract, purchase contract. Then you need to go to the town hall to get your Spanish address registration certificate. And with this and some more paperwork, such as your passport copy, where the visa actually is located, paying the tax once again, and filling out the specific form, we need to go to the national police previous appointment. Once again, very important. No one will attend your request without an actual appointment. We have to go there. They have to get you fingerprinted, registered, check all the documents back again. And then they will give you a specific paper where it will show you the date and the time when you need to come back to pick up your TIA card. The TIA card is actually your residence permit. This is the authorization for you to live here in Spain, not the visa. Without the TIA card, it is not a fully finished process, and people who don't finish to do the TIA card actually do get up to 500 euros fine if they don't do it in the period of time stipulated. So that's a very important step to actually do once you are here in Spain. And as you can see, the visa process is just the beginning of all the rest of the paperwork you will need to do and appointments to get once you actually arrive to Spain. The last bit would be the renewal and the actual path to a long-term residency. This is something that also not a lot of people tell, and First part is easy. It's just 1 year of permit, but then what? And here is actually when it becomes tricky. The visa that you got from the consulate is being given for 1 year. Since you receive your TIA card, obviously you're living here for 1 year, but 1 year passes really, really fast. And then when 60 days, more or less, maximum 60 days are left, you're actually able to start the renewal process. But it's already done from here, from Spain. Obviously, you don't have to go outside of the country for it. This second renovation is done for 2 years. And this means not only that you need to show the double of funds of the ones that you've actually showed the previous year, because that was just for 1 year, but now you have to show the double for these 2 years. But also you need to get the private health insurance for 2 years. And here, companies do not usually allow it unless you pay in advance. Some companies might give you the certificate, and we do work with companies who do that because these are specific residence insurances for these types of purposes. However, the vast majority of companies do not allow to actually extend the certificate for 2 years. First of all, because they don't know how much the payment will be for the next year, how much it will rise, because every year the payment increases the tiniest bit for the insurance. And second of all, because it just doesn't work like that. It's an annual insurance. So a lot of people have trouble with actually renovating their health insurances for 2 years straight, and also with the financial requirements showing the double amount for the 2 years. So basically it would be 1 year, 2 years, 2 years, 5 years, which is already considered like a longer term. And then once you reach these 10 years, you're actually able to ask for a Spanish nationality. What would be our final tips for all those of you who are thinking of applying to the non-lucrative visa in Spain? First of all, plan ahead. Get all the information that you want. You can book consultation with us if you need more information, and actually proper information from someone who deals with permits every single day, from a company that is here based in Spain, who knows from firsthand what you will need to provide in the consulate when you ask for a visa permit. Or just gather information in official websites, but of those who are trusted professionals. Because there's plenty of information out there of people who do not actually know what it is, who get the information online the same as you would, and people who have no idea how the requirements are shifting from 1 year to the other. Thus, you might read something that might not be entirely true by the moment you're applying, or in general, it wasn't true even at that specific moment. The vast majority of rejections happening in the consulates are because people try to search information themselves, and because they provided insufficient amount of documents or a not entirely valid and correct private health insurance. This is the biggest rejection point and reason in the Spanish consulates all over the world. So be careful, plan ahead, check it all out several times to make sure you actually meet the requirements. And also an important tip, always double check your consulate's requirements, because as mentioned previously, Miami consulate doesn't require an accommodation confirmation. However, Houston consulate does. So depending even on the country, on the province of the state where you're at, these requirements might be slightly different, or they might ask some additional documents. You never know. So this is why it's important to know in which consulate will you be actually submitting your paperwork and documents, and to see their exact requirements. All this basic paperwork will be needed, that's for sure, but maybe there's something additional that they are asking, or something specific that you might not be able to provide if you don't know it in advance. If you're planning to move to Spain with a non-lucrative visa and you have a lot of questions, you have a lot of doubts, first of all, you can drop us some comments if it's a generic short question here in the comments down below. And if you need to know even more information, or you want any kind of help with the relocation process, always feel free to contact us by the details down below that you're able to see. They're also in the description box and in the description of this channel, and we will gladly help you out. You can also book the official appointment for 30 minutes or 1 hour on our official website. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Spain Unlocked, for more legal, professional, insider information about moving, relocating legally to Spain. We'll see you in a brand new video this Saturday. Goodbye.